guys, it's Candice Michelle, and you're watching DieHard Wrestling.
Did you guys make your sexy face?
He's the one that
We're here today with Candice Michelle, former World Wrestling Entertainment. I was going to call it Federation. That would have been a slap on the wrist. Former World Wrestling Entertainment diva and Playboy cover model. I love that. Congratulations. Thank you for being here with us today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Well, one of the questions I want to ask you, I mean, a lot of fans out there always want to pick the brains of the divas and want to get in their mind and get a better idea of what it's like being a World Wrestling Entertainment diva. But first things first, you're not in the business now. So what's Candice Michelle been doing since walking away from pro wrestling?
Well, Candice Michelle was pregnant for 9 months and had a baby. So I have a 3-month-old baby at home who's my pride and joy, and she's definitely a full-time job.
Is she a future diva?
Well, I think I'm like every mom. People say, oh, do you want her to be a diva or in Playboy? I'm like, no, I want her to be a lawyer or a doctor. Exactly. Like, it's just a parent thing, and I think once you're a parent, you realize that. But of course, I'll support her with whatever she wants.
I've got a daughter myself. She's 9 years old. Everybody asks me what I want her to be. I said, look, as long as she's not swinging around a pole with glitter, I'm cool. I'm good. I did good as a father.
Right.
Now, as a former Playboy cover girl, and by the way, the spread was phenomenal. How do you feel about World Wrestling Entertainment's current PG-13 type of product, and do you think that the Candice Michelle character would have had as much success had she been in that environment?
Well, I understand why WWE is PG-13. With the kids growing up, and the kids are the future of the business, and some people take it too serious if the parents don't teach them right or they're too young to watch, that whole ordeal. So I get it, and I think it's a smart move for them. But the thing is it's always kind of changing. It's like one day they want me to wrestle in a bikini, and the next day I'm showing too much cleavage. So it's one of those things. They kind of teeter-totter on the edge, which I think is a smart choice. You need it edgy for the adults. Most of their demographic is 18 to 40 years old. So you got to kind of entertain them, but you have to be smart for the kids too.
I mean, I don't know, and I know you don't want to mention any names, but whoever said that there's too much cleavage on television, big problem with them, huge problem. But speaking of Playboy and divas, I mean, you shared a locker room with some of the hottest women professional wrestling's ever seen, and some of them have done Playboy. You've done Playboy. In your opinion, outside of yourself, who would you say has the hottest naked body in the locker room?
Ooh, wow. They're all so beautiful, really, and I do look at all of them.
You ever catch yourself staring a little too long?
And I wouldn't say a little too long, but, Tori Wilson is just phenomenal. She's your blonde bombshell. She's sweet as can be, has a dynamite body. I mean, you can't get much better than her.
I mean, do the girls play, is it true that you play the squeeze game at the back or anything?
No, but if I would have known about that game, I might have played it.
Now you have to get back into the business and to get the fulfillment. Now there's plenty of people out there who criticize wrestling for being fake. There's a lot of people out there who dump on women's wrestling for not being the same thing in a male-dominant sport. You went through a lot of injuries that a lot of male competitors don't even come back from. Now, is that one of the reasons why you decided to walk away from the business?
No, actually, like people always say, oh, Candice was injury prone. No, I wasn't. I fell in love with the business is what happened, and I wasn't smart enough to my body. I broke my collarbone. Somehow, I finagled my way into getting back into the ring before I was okayed by the doctor to get back in, and then I shattered it. It was nobody's, to blame except for myself. Yeah, it's scary to come back after you have surgery and you get in there, and in my mind I think, oh, I'm totally fine, everything will be okay, and then, you go to, climb up to that top rope, and, it goes through your mind a little bit, you got a little bit to play with. Did it make me not want to go back? No, it made me just the opposite. It made me want to come back better and stronger. And, then things just didn't work out, but in a way it was just good. It was time for me to be at home and pay attention to my family. I've been on the road for 5 years. And so it's been awesome just to be home, and to be a mom has just been, that's the best title that I've ever had.
Now, you had done a lot. You were pretty much one of the flagship divas for World Wrestling Entertainment. But were you disappointed at the time of your release?
Of course. Nobody wants to be quote-unquote released or fired or whatever you want to call it. In my mind, I was coming back from, another injury. And when you want to come back better and stronger and leave on a good note, and I had the honor to be the women's champion, and I wanted to achieve that again. And maybe that was cut a little short, but everything happens for a reason. I'm thankful for the time I had there. They were great while I was there. I busted my ass to get to where I got. And the most important thing is all these fans. I can come out to a convention like this, and all these fans can come out and see me and say hi, and it's just a really awesome experience to have.
Upon your release, was there any interest from TNA to go work for them?
There's rumors that there was interest. I've never actually spoken with Dixie Carter. I hear she's an amazing woman. And the company is it's amazing. Like, I watched it the other night. I'm like, my whole wrecking crew is over there, There's Tommy Dreamer and Victoria and Christy Hemme and Jeff Hardy, like everybody I would hang out with. And I'm like, their brand is just so up and coming, more than up and coming now. It's just really become amazing. So, it wasn't the timing for me. I was pregnant, so whether there was an offer there or not, I didn't really entertain it because I couldn't. So we'll see what happens in the future.
Well, since you watched TNA's product, it seems like they take their women's division a lot more serious than WWE does. Beautiful women, greatly talented, but it's not a division, so to speak. How would you compare WWE's Divas to TNA's Knockouts?
What I have to say about TNA's Knockouts is they get so much more time in the ring and so much more focus and so much more love from that company, and they prove themselves every time I see them. They put on a great match, a great story, and they can show off their talent. Unfortunately, sometimes with WWE, the girl, like you said, it's a man's sport, and sometimes you get a minute match. You can't do much to show off the talent. Those girls over at WWE are so beautiful and talented, but they just don't always get the chance to show off their talent. And I think that's the only downfall about the divas at WWE.
It sounds like you might have enjoyed performing as an athlete a lot more than just the pillow fights.
Oh, I hated the pillow fights. I remember at WrestleMania one year, they're like, you're going to be in a gown/bikini/Playboy match. I'm like, okay, so what are we doing, really? It's more hard to find a bikini that fits under a gown and put a bed out there than it is to do anything with the match, And so once you train really hard and you go through all that hard work, the last thing you want to do is go throw a pillow at somebody. So it gets frustrating, but on the other hand, I understand the TNA of it. There's a sex appeal, but you can be sexy in wrestling. Like on SmackDown, I think the divas get a lot more attention, which is awesome. They get more time to put on a match and showcase their talents and storylines. Same with TNA, and so I think that's just, you need to have that to be able to show it off.
Now, have you considered taking bookings on the independent circuit, maybe to get back into the ring or tone up your skills again?
No, I haven't. Just being in the WWE and having the top agents, train me and everything, and still come out with injuries after certain things. Last thing I want to do is go on the independent scene and have to wrestle a rookie or somebody that doesn't know what they're doing and have another injury. At least with WWE, you're covered, they'll pay for it. You got some insurance there on independent scene. And I've seen those shows. They're brutal. They're crazy. I give them tons of credit. They bust their butt at those shows.
I'm a former booker of the NWA circuit out here in New York and New Jersey, and one of my biggest fears was having these guys dive off the top rope into the crowd, landing on their head, paralyze themselves. Again, these are young kids who aren't, trained the right way, who don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to make a splash in front of 100 people in a crowd, and it's not worth it. One of the main reasons why I'm not running anymore is because of the insurance situation. And, it's a big step back for somebody who's been on television, somebody who has the experience to come back, do it here, and risk injury in a place that's not going to have them covered.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I have seen that too. I've seen them going through the ropes. and there's not even a little mat on the floor. I mean, it's the cements, you know. I mean, they're hardcore. I mean, I seen one where it went outside of the gymnasium, and they're throwing trash cans on him, and he's stuck in. I mean, I'm like, I don't want to be a part of that.
Well, speaking of things and heat, at one time while in WWE, you had a very heated and public, I guess, blog feud with Melina. How are things working out these days, and did you ever have problems with anybody else in the locker room?
Well, that was a true blog feud and a true in locker room feud, overall feud. I haven't had problems with anybody else, and now to this day, me and Melina are really good friends. You know, back then, you know, I don't come from the wrestling scene, and she had busted her butt coming from the independent scene, and to have somebody like me come in and take a title from her, you know, I can understand where she's coming from. She didn't like that, and she didn't want it to happen. Unfortunately, I busted my butt too when I was there, and you know, I was given that opportunity to take the title and run with it. And you know, you become very protective over your moves, you know. Of course, everybody's done some move at some time if you come from the wrestling background. I didn't, you know, I come from Hollywood, you know, so it's like if I think up a move or think I thought up a move, I want it, and then all of a sudden they come on, oh no, it's mine. Well, okay, everybody has the moves, like everybody does a clothesline, like it's like, come on, you know, I mean, it gets really competitive there, and I got competitive and I started fighting back, and it paid off. So, but now I think she respects, you know, what I've done, and I respect where she's come from, and we've grown to have that kind of friendship. So,
you know, one of the biggest problems in the locker room and in the business per se is that everybody is so paranoid about their spot in the company, their spot on television, their spot in merchandising. Was it the same way with the females? Was there that jealousy, somebody worried about their spot? Maybe while you were injured, you're like, shit, somebody's going to come out and take my spot over here. I might not get another shot at the title. Is this the same thing from the male locker room to the female locker room?
yeah, you know, I think it's pretty much the same. You know, you fight for your spot, and you fight to keep that spot. You know, you always got to reinvent yourself and make yourself interesting and stay up there. And like you said, you get injured, you know, that's opportunity for somebody else to sweep in, and then you got to come back even bigger and better than what you were before, you know? So it's a lot of pressure, and, you know, that's just the nature of the business. I think you know that once you're in it. You just got to deal with it or get out.
You know, I don't want to hold you up because it seems like there's a long line of fans that want to meet you, but the fans that have contacted me, knowing that we're going to have this conversation today, had one more question. You mentioned Hollywood. They all want to know, is there a sequel in the works to Hotel Erotica?
Oh, my infamous Hotel Erotica.
Wow, this is beautiful. I only have a room.
Wait until you're gonna have a little bit more clout. What are you doing?
I'm kissing you. Hoping to make love to you.
Hold on.
Are you attracted to me?
There is not a sequel in the works for that. I was young and finding out about myself and life and the business. And do I regret it? No. Do people love it? Yes. Will it ever go away? No. And, you know, it was a one-time thing where I found out that just isn't for me.
Any chance of you maybe returning to the ring for a major company, or are you happy at home now with your daughter?
You know, I'm really happy at home right now. I wouldn't return to a company where I had to be on the road 4 days a week. You know, I have a baby at home. That's my first priority. And if I won't take any job where I have to be away that long.
Well, Candice, I want to thank you for your time. We got to do this again. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Okay.